But other districts are moving toward a model where they're trying to individualize experiences for students and match the students' needs to a program. We're still trying to cast that wide net. You've heard me talk about it before, whether it's the way we're attacking the MCAS scores or just providing the education at the high school. We should be moving to a 21st century model, but that does take time, energy, and some money. And it seems like we spend a good part of our year just trying to figure out how we're going to keep going. It's nobody's fault, it's the situation that we're giving. I just continue to be concerned that for every year that goes by, we've got more years to catch up. And we want our kids to have the best advantage going out into college. They have quality skills, and they have succeeded, they'll continue to succeed, but just imagine what we could do with a little more if we could get ourselves out of this loop. If we don't get level services, for my direct budget, a lot of what you see, my direct budget isn't that greatly impacted because it's not that large and it doesn't carry very much personnel. Small caps is mostly things that come in my domain, and they are certainly things we could figure out ways to work around should we have to for another year. One thing I do caution when we start to think about it is for every piece of technology we add, there's an associated labor cost, if you will, with that. It takes a lot to maintain them, to keep them up and running, and to make sure people have the skills that they need to use them appropriately so they're not dormant. So if we're adding 15 and 20 smart boards, there's a maintenance cost to that, and then a training cost to that, and just the daily upkeep. And our staff in tech, they do miracles. We have 3 technicians, including our network administrator, and then Joanne, who's our tech integrator, serves all 5 schools and helps them out any way she can, and I help out when they let me. Sometimes I mess some things up for them. It's the same situation we've been in. We'll come up with creative ideas. Some of the scenarios that you mentioned, the 500,000 and $1 million, I think we're back. I hesitate to say it, but I think we're back at the same discussion we were having last year, looking at some major reorganization on how we do things. And it would always be my preference to do it in a proportionate way. So no one level or one school is taking a larger hit than anyone else, because it does. All of the principals mentioned it when it was up here. If we take a chunk out of the elementary program, it's going to follow those students all the way through. Same with the middle, same with the high school. So I would hope we wouldn't eliminate any one particular program and try to find some way to do a proportional reduction across the board. Yep.
On the textbooks, there were 4 or 5 requests, and I think we approved the revision of everyday math, I think, and was it a science?
Science program.
Science program.
Those 2 are critical, correct?
Yes, and in talking with the K-12 councils, we would put science as the first priority. If we could get any funding, we'd like to see it go in that direction. We've done work over the past 2 years. There was a task force that rewrote the curriculum map, which we're implementing this year, and we're finding that the STC kits, while they provide some good hands-on activities, we're lacking continuity between the kids. That's not to say it's everybody, but we do have a lot of new teachers, and we feel like a more structured set of tools would help them with that. And we have some teams going out to investigate a program called No Atom. We're going to go up and visit Newcastle Elementary School in New Hampshire. They've been using it for several years. They're a pretty high-performing district. We thought we could get some good information, seeing it hands-on.
And the everyday math, is that a new series, or is it just a replacement?
It's a replacement. It's the series we're using now. They've come up with, we haven't purchased any new text or replacement text of them in 10 years.
Right.
So the program that's out now is the same program in body, however it has more technology extensions and kits for teachers to differentiate instruction. And it also provides additional practice, the place that we're always trying to supplement, that exists in the new program. So that's kind of honestly, we prioritize the science would be first, the math would be a very nice piece to have, but it won't put us at any great disadvantage if we'd have to go another year. Yeah, do we want everyone up?
Yeah, I think we ought to do that, because if they want to ask. one thing is,
No, Sean said no, he doesn't want.
can you people hear for the most part, or can you hear okay? No? Maybe we should have kind of more of a, I don't know.
If you ask your questions through the chair, then we'll ask.
Use your master's
Administrator.
voice.
Okay.
Your master's voice,
Use
yes.
your master's voice. Okay, sit.
It's just for the
No.
camera.
These microphones are only for the camera, they're not for the
Right, so
room.
the-
Yeah, if you ask questions through me, and then we'll ask an administrator if they're ready to respond, okay? So does anyone like to ask any questions? Deanna?
I have several, and I'm not sure who's best to answer, but maybe at different levels you can answer. Dr. Troughton made the case a year ago or 2 years ago regarding drawing a line in the sand with budget scenarios, that as far as hiring was concerned, we were going to likely have to hire people at different levels as far as their income is concerned, or steps, or whatever that terminology is, than we've ever had to do in our district in the past, going forward. And I'd like for someone to comment on how that impacts the teachers that you're hiring today and the teacher quality, because it seems to me that class size and teacher quality go hand in hand with student achievement. So I'm concerned, where we're headed with that.
If I may, I don't know how Dr. Troughton did it, but what I have done in the past is I give each building administrator or whoever's doing the hiring a hiring budget, and I tell them to get the best quality person they can, and this is the target figure, but if you have to go over it, that's okay. Just show me where you're going to make up the difference. And I've had building principals in other districts come in and say, I'm not going to buy cafeteria furniture, I'm not going to do this. And so the budget within the building stays the same, but there's no limit on how much you can spend on a teacher, because my philosophy is get the best person you possibly can in the classroom. And that's what, with the blessing of the school committee, that's what I'm going to try and do here too.
I think if I could give a philosophical answer, I think, and this is a personal philosophy, I think we sometimes get carried away with degrees. And I think that you could hire somebody with a bachelor's degree with a teacher certificate that might be the greatest teacher you've ever hired in a district. I wouldn't recommend that you go out and try to hire, all 22-year-old kids who just got out of college and just got their teaching certificate, but I think there's something to be said for those kind of teachers. But I think that Dr. Troughton followed the philosophy last year for the first time of, if he could hire someone for a little less money,
particularly if they had some experience.
if they had some experience, he was going to do that. And I think he did in some cases. I haven't heard of any real issues, but
Seeing and working with the new teachers as they come in each year, I kind of see the list, and we had a healthy distribution of teachers at beginning career, and people who were in the middle of career, and some people who were late in career. Especially when we get into, and John may be able to speak to this, at the high school we have some very hard to fill areas when you get into the physics and chemistry, the sciences. They're very specific degrees and specific certifications without a lot of play. You have to take the best candidates that are out there. So while I think we had it as a target, we also always tried to fill the position with the best qualified person we could.
Dean, I think he was referring specifically to at one point, correct me if I'm wrong, when he was hiring, he wanted to hire people with masters.
Right.
And I think what he realized was that it's kind of a subjective standard. Like Mel said, you can hire somebody that has experience and not necessarily a master's or a master's plus, and still get a very high quality person. So I don't think the standards were low, and I just think that the requirement that they have a master's or